I feel like I'm at the Grammys with this music. It's very hip. We'll have to take note of that for our conference next month. So thank you very much for the invitation to be here today. It's so wonderful to attend a conference of this magnitude for the first time in a long time, and to join this great group of people that are so dedicated to building our economy and our future. Before I get into my presentation, just a little bit of background about offshore Newfoundland and Labrador and our energy industry. We currently have 4 producing fields in one basin called the Jeanne d'Arc Basin, but through our seismic work, we know now that we have 21 basins, so the potential is immense. We are at tidewater, so there aren't any pipelines, and we sell the oil from Newfoundland to 14 different countries. It's a very light, sweet crude oil. It's 30% below greenhouse gases at extraction, and it commands Brent prices and oftentimes higher. We know there are about 650 leads and prospects off our shores, and about 20 of those have the potential for over 1 billion barrels of oil. So that's just to put it into perspective a little bit. We recently did rebrand to Energy NL, so I will be speaking today more than just oil and gas, but it's still going to be a major part of our focus going forward. So this section that we're speaking in now is about major projects. And before I get into the major energy projects occurring in Newfoundland and Labrador, which fall under the scope of Energy NL, I'm going to provide a little bit of an overview about the upcoming offshore exploration programs, because they truly are the building block for the offshore. ExxonMobil Canada has long been the major operator offshore Newfoundland and Labrador and a great friend to our association. There is great excitement that the operator of our first project, Hibernia, and our most recent project, Hebron, plan to explore in the Flemish Pass via 2 exploration wells this summer. So that is one of those new basins that I referenced. Aside from the typical interest that accompanies an offshore exploration campaign, particular attention was given when it was announced that Qatar Energy purchased a 40% interest in a license block associated with that Hamden well that will be drilled this summer. This will be the first time that Qatar Energy has been involved offshore Newfoundland and Labrador, and given a long association with Qatar that our province has had through the College of the North Atlantic, we welcome them to our industry and look forward to their increasing engagement. BP Canada holds a significant prospect in our offshore. For years, it has been known to us in Newfoundland and Labrador as Cape Friels because that's the closest land point to the prospect, but it's known internally as Ephesus. No matter the name, the expectations and the hopes are very high. The CEO of our provincial oil corporation has referred to this project as a monster, as the resource potential is massive. It is said to potentially be larger than the prolific Marlim field in Brazil, and that field has about 3 billion barrels of oil. This one field alone has the potential for 4 FPSOs in one field, more than what we currently have in total. BP is planning to explore in 2023, and while we all attempt to temper our expectations, it's hard when we have been anticipating this one for some time. Also planning a 2023 exploration campaign is BHP. While the company is currently in the process of a merger with Woodside, our early interactions with BHP staff have been exceptional. BHP began in Australia, Todd has given some of that background, as a mining company. They're very focused on local content and local benefits, and I know that's something very important to the people in this room, to Energy NL, to CBTU, and all of our members. Their license bid in 2018 was the largest monetarily in our history at $621 million to go explore this parcel of land. It's also important to note that BHP and BP programs are occurring in the Orphan Basin, which is another one of those new basins I mentioned earlier on. There are no currently producing projects there now, so the potential of opening these new basins is very important to us. And likewise, the ExxonMobil program I mentioned in the Flemish Pass is also a new basin. Speaking of the Flemish Pass, Equinor has a project there called Bay de Nord. You might have heard of that one lately, where they do plan to do further exploration this year. The West Hercules just arrived from Norway to undertake that drilling campaign, and of course we are very excited about the potential of this campaign and this development project. And while exploration projects are the building blocks and create important jobs and spin-offs, development projects are the bread and butter for so many Energy NL members, as well as Trades NL. My colleague Darren King is in the room here today, and CBTU members. So let's take a look at them, the development project, starting with the famous Bay de Nord project. I won't get into all of the details, but recently the project just received federal environmental approval, and now we wait the sanction decision from Equinor. This project will be the lowest carbon intensity oil project in Canada at 8 kilograms of CO2 per barrel. So when you hear today Todd from BHP talking about their focus on sustainability, Michael talking about the lowest emissions in nuclear, and Luke talking about the lowest LNG, it sounds like Canada is certainly well positioned in this energy evolution and can lead the way when it comes to net zero by 2050. The Bay de Nord project is anticipated to have first oil in 2028, and we expect a lot of our members and your members to be very busy. As part of Energy NL's advocacy to support the project, we hired an economist to study the potential impacts of that project. Annually, Bay de Nord could support almost 14,000 jobs across Canada, with almost 9,000 of those being where you would expect in Newfoundland and Labrador. But the impact is not just limited to Newfoundland and Labrador. Ontario would receive over 2,000 jobs annually, Quebec about 900, over 700 in the Maritimes, and the same for Alberta. The GDP impact for those provinces is also significant, with Ontario receiving about a $7.2 billion increase in GDP, Alberta $3.1 billion, Quebec $2.6 billion boost, and $1.8 billion growth in the Maritimes. So this truly is a national project, a nation-building project. As the Bay de Nord story has much of it yet to be told, so too is the story of the West White Rose project. While 60% completed by the dedicated and skilled members of Trades NL, during COVID, the work was largely suspended. During construction, 1,400 skilled tradespeople were working on the project at peak production. Undertaken in Argentia, Newfoundland and Labrador, the idea is to have the concrete gravity structure wellhead in the White Rose field supporting production. We understand that a decision will be made by the middle of this year, so really just weeks away, and we truly hope it will be a positive one for our sector, our province, and Trades NL members. If restarted, it is anticipated the workforce will once again be around 1,000 people, with upwards of 1,400 at peak construction. There will also be about 1,500 jobs for the service and supply sector related to the project, and $11 billion in future capital and operating expenditures. The Terra Nova FPSO has a similar story in that production halted in 2019 and COVID stalled a planned asset life extension program, which was to see a refit of that vessel and another decade of production. Again, to skip the longer part of the tale about the advocacy required to ensure that the project was supported and able to continue, I'm proud to say that in 2021, significant quayside work occurred at Bull Arm, Newfoundland and Labrador to prepare the vessel to sail to Spain for its refit work there. It left for Spain on December 14th with a planned return to Newfoundland and Labrador later this summer and a return to production before the end of the year. And to help put into perspective the value of that project, beside the additional 10 years of production and 70 million barrels of oil it will produce, we had the same economist review the economic impacts of the asset life extension project. He estimated that the capital investment would support almost 1,800 jobs, while annual operations would support over 1,200, and revenue from annual royalties and corporate taxes to the province would support an additional 2,100 jobs. That's the multiplier effect of this industry. So we certainly look forward to the FPSO returning to our waters. Another LNG project on the other side of the country, a potential project which is in the early stages of financing and approvals that has generated a lot of interest in our industry, is the LNG-NL proposed offshore gas hub and pipeline. The proponents, which include Indigenous partners, are proposing a gas hub located in the Jeanne d'Arc Basin. It will be located about 30 kilometers from existing fields and export natural gas from those fields to a floating liquefied natural gas facility located in the port of Grassy Point via a 600-kilometer underwater pipeline. While still a concept, a lot of preliminary work has been undertaken, and the project was submitted for environmental assessment last year. The proponent estimates capital cost to be approximately $10 billion, with between 1,300 and 1,500 direct jobs, construction jobs at peak, potentially 400 permanent jobs for the facility. We know LNG is a source of energy desired by many countries, particularly some European countries such as Germany, and the product from this facility would be at tidewater and ready to serve those markets. In keeping with our revised mandate, we are also keenly interested in a number of renewable energy projects which could provide substantial jobs and benefits to our province and region. The Atlantic Loop is one of those projects. While at this time it seems in some ways to be more conceptual than reality, we strongly believe in the possibility of this project and the ability of our members to make it a reality. The idea is an Eastern Canadian power grid supplied largely by hydropower from Labrador and Quebec, which could provide clean energy to the region and beyond. The possibilities are endless when you consider hydroelectricity and hydrogen taking the place of coal and other heat sources. And of course, there's the potential for hundreds of jobs, if not thousands, supporting construction and the required infrastructure. While this may be a concept becomes a reality quickly in our times, and our associations should cooperate and ensure local participation and benefits for our members should the project proceed. Before I wrap up, I would like to provide a little information about Energy-NL and our recent shift in focus. While just a month ago our name, vision, and mandate may have changed, our commitment to our members, our advocacy for them, and our work to provide them market access has not changed. Here we have a quick video which we played at our rebrand launch and is used for our social media platforms to help illustrate our evolution. Our vision has changed to a sustainable and prosperous lower carbon energy industry, and we believe this is not only laudable but attainable and has been overwhelmingly supported by our members. In fact, not only supported it, they led the change. And I know people in this room today support this approach, as Sean Strickland's recent editorial about the move to net zero highlighted. Again, our advocacy will remain a key part of what we do as we support our members and ensure their continued access to markets. We are member-driven. We collaborate to achieve results. Our partnership with the Provincial Environmental Industries Association on the Net Zero project is an example of this. And we are balanced realists who believe in fact-based advocacy and research, as you likely gathered from our economic impact studies. These are our pillars, our personality, our values moving forward. My closing comments are to say thank you to CBTU and Trades-NL for your continued support. You were there for Energy-NL and our members, as well as your members, to support our advocacy work, writing elected officials, and publicly showing your support on social media. The support of your strong and influential organizations was crucial and will not be forgotten. So, thank you for the support and for my participation today, and I wish you a very successful conference.